Hey, you know what they say? One guy's trash is another guy's craft supplies. Growing up, my mom helped my brother and I make a lot of crafts out of trash. I remember saving toilet paper rolls to make like a giant giraffe. It was awesome. My childhood is over, but you know what still exists? Trash. Lots and lots of trash. And we can still make cool stuff out of it. In this video, I'm going to show you some crafts that I made recently out of trash. I hope you feel inspired to make some of them or to look at trash with a fresh perspective. So let's get started. This first craft, super easy. It's a paper chain, and you can make it out of paper scraps. I made this out of paper scraps, but they aren't my paper scraps. They're my brother's partner's paper scraps. My brother's partner is a photographer, and they had a bunch of paper that had been cut off a print or something, prints, and I was given them. Because people give me leftovers. Because they know I'll use them. And this is kind of a thick paper. I use just like cheap watercolors on either side to give it kind of like a pastel tie-dye effect. But you could use any kind of paint or decoration on them. You could do glitter, you could do stickers. You could just like save paper scraps from different projects until you had enough to make a chain of your desired length. Or you could save like junk mail and cut that into strips, or like old magazines and do like a collage-esque kind of thing. Also, I cut these strips to be like relatively the same width and length, but you could also keep them all different sizes. You could make a tiny, tiny paper chain. You could make a giant paper chain. You could do anything you want. And then, yeah, you just glue or tape it together. I used tape because I thought it would hold better for the thick paper. And then when you hang it in your room is like 10% more cool and fun and whimsical and happy. So. Okay, let me just. Did you know that you can make your own polka dot clothes with bottle caps? Like this. Or this. I got these plain shirts at the bins, so they're very cheap. And then I got some bottle caps. One of them I literally found on the ground. And then you get yourself some fabric paint, but if you don't feel like buying fabric paint, you can also mix fabric softener into acrylic paint, like regular acrylic paint, and that will work as fabric paint. You do, for both regular fabric paint and paint you make with fabric softener, you do need to heat set it. So after it's done, make sure you put it in the dryer or press it with an iron with parchment paper in between the iron and the paint so it doesn't come off on your iron. I'm getting kind of uncomfortable in here. We got a long way to go. So once you have your paint and your bottle cap you want to use for polka dots, like, you know, look at the size, look at the texture or the how smooth the bottle cap is. You maybe don't want one with like a large indent or anything like sticking out of it or ridges on the side. I made sure to get like two that were relatively pretty smooth on top. So once you have that, you can stamp your polka dot pattern. Yeah, just put your paint down and then put the bottle cap in it and then stamp it on the shirt. You might have to do some follow up with a paintbrush depending on the texture of the paint. Like if it's runny and kind of goes into the fabric easily, you probably won't have to do much touch up. Like for this one, it kind of almost bled into the fabric because of the type of fabric and how runny the black paint was. But for this one, I had to do quite a lot of touch up with the paintbrush. For this one, I decided to do kind of more of a geometric, regularly spaced polka dot pattern. And then this one is more of kind of like random polka dots. Also, you're not limited to shirts, of course. You can do pants, you can do tote bags, whatever you want, hats, and you could do like a smiley face pattern with the bottle cap. And then you have something cute to wear or use. So once you've used your bottle caps as polka dot print makers, you don't have to recycle them or throw them away. They can be used for another craft, and that's pin badges. There's a lot of different ways you could approach this. This one, which I used to make the maroon shirt with the red dots, I literally just put a sticker on, a Hello Kitty sticker, because I wanted to show how easy it is to repurpose a bottle cap if you have a sticker. And then also, of course, you do need to buy one thing, which is a pin backing, and then I just hot glued that on there. This one I did not trim the edges of, so it is a little bit of like a 3D pin, which I don't mind. This one I trimmed the edges of, so it's a little bit thinner, and you can like wear it maybe on your shirt less cumbersomely. This one I painted, so you can paint whatever you want on the bottle cap, but if you don't feel like painting, you can use stickers or whatever seems fun to you. And then once you have these pins, you can put them on your shirt or your bottoms or a bag, a backpack, and it's just fun. This is fun. I'm like trying to convince you about how fun it is, but it is. It's fun. I love pins. If you have a bottle cap that's just way too thick and you don't want to try cutting it, I do have another craft idea for you. The idea is very much the same as the pin badge, and it does this. This does essentially function as a large pin because it's just a bottle cap that I painted. Frick. Oh, by the way, if you're going to paint a plastic bottle cap, be sure to gloss it afterward because the paint will like chip off the smooth plastic. You could also sand it, but then you're just kind of like putting little bits of plastic in your air. So maybe you could just use some gloss to seal in the paint instead. Hi, Moo! And this large bottle cap can now, with a pin on the back, hot glued on the back, can now function as a scarf holder. Let me show you what I mean. So when you like put on a neck scarf, like this, if you don't want to tie it, you could use a scarf pin to pin the two sides together. And because the bottle cap is kind of wide, you can sort of like shove the fabric up inside and then like pin it inside. Cool. Next is an idea for an even larger lid, like this pesto lid. It's a mouse portrait. It's kind of like a self-portrait of me as a mouse, I guess. I got the idea I got this kid's book, and in it there was a picture of a mouse, like a portrait of a mouse. I was looking at it and I was like, I want to make my own mouse portrait. So I painted this with just like acrylic paints, and then I added some rope on the sides, and to the top I just like hot glued rope that I had lying around. And I really like how the different textures look together. I think that's a fun part about using trash, is that you're naturally going to be making something that's multimedia, but I like how it had me like thinking about how to use different things I had lying around the house, and I love how the textures look together. Also, you don't have to do a portrait of a mouse. I don't know why you wouldn't, but you could do any animal, or you could do your pet, a portrait of your pet, or a portrait of your friend's pet, or a portrait of yourself or your friend as a human, if you're a human. Okay, I want to preface this one by saying I don't think rocks are trash. In fact, they're not trash, but I did make a craft out of a rock, and I wanted to include it because this is something you could find lying around, like trash. But it isn't trash. Let's just go with it. The legs are made out of air-dry clay. Where I hot glued the rock to the clay, like legs, I added a little foam clay to kind of like cover up the hot glue. And the shoelaces are made of thread, and I painted the face on. This is giving like very Marcel the Shell with shoes on vibes, and I love that. He's just a cute little guy to have around. He has a great personality. Funny story about this rock, I've had this rock since like for so many years because I got it the summer before I started high school when my family went to Washington State to visit relatives, and we went to some beaches, and the beaches there were like rocks instead of sand. So I collected like so many rocks, like 30 rocks, maybe more. My parents let me bring them all home in my luggage, which is so nice. I really liked rocks as a kid. Then they just kind of like were on the floor of my bedroom for me to look at and like take pictures of. And then I've been bringing them kind of like from house to house, and then I made a craft out of it. So you just never know. The next craft is an earring holder. It's made from a very specific piece of trash though, so I don't know how widely applicable this one is. This is a piece of trash that came with a pack of socks I got my partner Justin, and I said, that looks like an earring holder. So I honestly just sprayed it with some primer. This isn't even paint. And then I stuck some earrings in it, and now I have flies all around. I wanted to include it because I think that it shows how you can look at different types of trash you encounter, like looking for opportunity and trying to see the potential in it. If you see something with a hook with holes in it, it could be an earring holder, you know? And if you see a rock, it could be your best friend. Do you hoard bits of string or ribbon? If so, this next craft is great for you. Necklaces. You can make necklaces out of trash. We'll start with this one because I made this first. This is literally a piece of like elastic string that came on, I don't know what. It was such a long time ago, I don't remember what it came on, but I like will cut off pieces of string that come on things. But they'll like wrap a string around it and put the tag on the string. I'll keep the string. Months go by. Years. I get a cinema roll little guy in an advent calendar from my mom. I'm getting bit by a mosquito. Now I've got a necklace. Easy as that. You can also make something to go on the string. You don't have to wait for the cinema roll to come to you. This was a drawstring on a pair of pajama pants that I cut out because I didn't like the way it felt on my body. And I kept it, and now it's a necklace with my dog on it. So you can save ribbon, string, pajama pant drawstrings, and then make something or find something to use as the pendant, and then you have a new necklace that's super unique and no one else in the world has it. Do you think I was gonna make a craft video without making a hair clip? This one's a cherry to go on top of my head. Now, the stem is the trash. It's actually one of Justin's old violin strings. Violin strings will be like wrapped in, I don't know what this is, but like they'll be wrapped in a color. And this one was green, so I cut it out, and she's peeing right in front of the camera. Good job! It even had like this little loop up here where it got wider, just like a cherry stem does. So, but that part didn't have any green on it. So I wrapped green thread around that with like a needle and glued it in place. The cherry body is made out of foam clay that I painted red and then glossed, and then I hot glued it onto a hair clip. Now, you're saying, I don't have any old violin strings, and I get that. I think you can make the top out of a twist tie that you get off like bread or whatever as twist tie tortillas, and you could wrap that with thread to make it look like a stem. And then you can be a sundae. By the way, my hair is supposed to be colored like Neapolitan ice cream. Is the effect happening? The sun is setting, but it's good timing because we've arrived to the last craft, which is junk journaling. And trash is basically in the name. With junk journaling, you can use trash to journal and scrapbook and collage, wrappers, receipts, random mail, tickets, memorabilia, whatever you want that's relatively two-dimensional, you can put in your junk journal. Junk journaling not only is a way to preserve your memories in like a tangible physical way, but it's also a way to work with your hands that feels very low pressure and not goal oriented, which I think is important. I really like junk journaling, watching TV, And it's a cool way to reuse things that you might otherwise throw away, which is what this whole video is about. I hope this video encourages you to see potential in trash. I also hope it encourages you to be resourceful and to look at objects beyond their intended purpose. But most of all, I hope you had fun. And if you like this video, consider subscribing if you want to see more from me. Thank you so much for watching. I came out of the trash can! Just so many flies.